Get ready, get set. It's time for the O Brother Podcast. Welcome to the O Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
As always, great to see you, Donnie.
Okay, it's Dennis. It's Donnie.
Did I say Donnie?
Where does Donnie even come from? I don't even.
Oh, Donnie boy, the
Folks,
pipes, the pipes.
It's been a while, but apparently not long enough. And
I'm rusty. You got to let me give you a couple of jabs.
Listen, and we've been on hiatus, but I'm not even ready to commit to that we're back off hiatus yet, because if folks knew what sequence of events have led up to us getting to this moment right here, and I don't mean leading up moments like earlier today. I'm talking about...
No, you're talking about like last episode, I had no microphone.
Yeah, right.
When now Mike I have was Mr. Microphone.
When Mike was not mic'd. That's exactly
right.
Hey,
good looking. You want to go out for a ride later?
We'll pick you up later.
Yeah. We'll
we got a great big convoy.
Now that's The Simpsons. You went into The Simpsons.
No, it's Mr. Microphone.
Was that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were spoofing Mr. Microphone.
Yeah, so, I know.
But anyways, okay, so yeah, we're back for the time being, I guess. Yeah. And for those of you that are not currently following us, make sure that you go out to the official O Brother website, which is ohbpodcast.com. That's OHB as in brother, podcast.com. You know it, you love it. Also, follow us on Instagram. Boom, right there, at OHB Podcast. Mike holding up a beautiful personalized Coca-Cola bottle that I purchased for him here in Florida.
But you know what's missing?
And that is legit glass, by the way.
Yeah. And what's missing is it should say Mike _ at O Brother.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be your Instagram handle, but yeah. So, and thanks for those of you that while we've been away have started to follow us on or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please make sure that you go out, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like our videos out there, help us get the show out to more and more people. But thank you to everybody that's subscribed thus far. But hey, we're back and we're going to talk about...
Hey, before you get there, real quick, I just wanted to mention, because I don't want you to get into your whole
The more
spiel.
Things change, the more things stay the same.
I just want to say that we're kind of reinventing O Brother. It's not just movies, although we're covering movies, TV, but like music. You maybe see a little Elvis Costello behind me.
We're not reinventing anything.
Well,
we already did that. This is the reinvented, reimagined O Brother. We just haven't talked about music yet.
I don't know, Dennis. I think we did.
Can you stop? Don't make me go into the Dennis story, which is, well, I might as well now that you bring it up. So,
well,
the story is, I was asking Mom about the origin of my name, because I've always thought, you remember Dad used to do this joke. I might have told it on the show before, but our parents are Joseph and Mary, believe it or not.
Smith.
Yeah, but Joseph and Mary is the relevant piece of that.
Well,
and Dad used to walk around saying, yeah, we were going to name the oldest Jesus Christ, but we thought maybe that was a little bit over the top. But you're Michael, right? And then Daniel. So it seemed very biblical. So anyways, I don't remember ever asking her, why did you name me Daniel? And keep in mind, they don't call me Daniel. Everybody calls me Dan, right? As you can see here with the podcast, nobody calls me Daniel. But I asked her, how did I get my name? And she said, well, actually, we were going to call you Dennis.
I would have beat you every day of your life.
No offense to any Dennis out there, especially any of our listeners that are Dennis. But Dennis.
No. I would have been on you like, hey, Dennis the Menace, you little goof.
It would have been brutal.
And Dan, hardly anybody knows this fact about you. Dan had like golden blonde locks for his first 6 years of his life.
I sure did.
And we just assumed, and we don't know where it came from because our parents dark hair and we're Italian. So I think Dad was a little philandering there.
Well, a little mailman was making some extra rounds, perhaps.
Yeah, could have happened.
The milkman. Yeah, I noticed I got a little of the Dennis the Menace hairdo going on, actually, too, if you notice. Do you notice they got that Bob's Big Boy thing happening?
Yeah, that is.
What's going on?
Dennis I've also You're tatting yourself.
My looks have changed. And
you're just getting ready for jail. I mean,
seriously, I look like a convict at this point. But
you know, this is going to be good because when they finally do put you in the
full
clink,
transparency, folks, the hiatus was really because I'd been incarcerated for the last couple of months.
You know, the good thing in the clink is, you know, those tats kind of saved you. You've got this big bear now under your arm. That's huge.
Well, it's not. It's a wolf.
Right. That's a wolf. Then you got a hawk.
I'm a hawk, and then I've got
this huge bear.
I've got a huge. No, it's a
panther.
Not what
is. It's a panther.
Yeah. The bear is coming. The bear is on its way.
It looks a little like your cat, but it's a huge panther.
It does. Yeah. Well, I'll have to put that out on the website at some point.
All right.
For those that are interested in seeing that.
So back.
All right. So we're here to talk about The Last of Us, which is currently streaming on HBO and HBO Max.
Based on a video game.
It came out January 15th. It started streaming on HBO. So I hadn't heard of this before. This goes back to 2013. Now, any video game fans out there that follow us or that are listening, this is like, yeah, duh. You know,
it's a big game.
They're going to know this story.
In fact, you hear a lot of people after the show saying, they interview people, you know, they do like a story after the story. And some people will be like, that was exactly like the video game. That was the same scene. It looked the same.
Yeah.
I've never played it. I've never seen it.
No, never played it.
I play a ton of video games, but that's not one of them.
Now, one thing I do know is in like a recent episode, I think it was episode 6, because as of this recording, there's been 6 episodes that have been released.
Correct.
And there's going to be a total of 9.
Okay, I didn't know that.
At least for this season. Assuming there's going to be multiple seasons.
Right.
Now, this stars Pedro Pascal.
Excellent.
And Bella Ramsey, who some of you might know. She was in Game of Thrones. Great casting, the two of them together. But anyways, let's circle back because, like I said, hadn't heard of this. 2013, the video game hits. Comes out for the PlayStation 3 and 4. From what I read, and I think Neil Druckmann is the creator of both the game and the writer on the show as well.
Correct.
And he,
writers.
Craig Mazin is his partner. Those are the two, primary guys behind this.
Yeah.
So give us the synopsis of, I guess, both the video game and the series.
Well, for people who know video games, this is kind of like a, what would you call it?
It's an RPG, right?
Yeah, role-playing game. And you're basically, it starts with the world going to hell. Everybody's turning into zombies. It starts normal, but then, like, very quickly in the first episode, people start getting bit and infected.
Well, very timely. This is focused on a global pandemic.
Correct. And that was one of the first things I said to you. I said, this is a little too close to the pandemic for me. And then I'm like, is this going to be just, what's the one that, The Walking Dead?
Well, so, yeah, but before we get into that, so it's kind of this post-apocalyptic setting, and current events are taking place in the current time in 2023.
Right.
It kicks off in 2003 is when the series starts.
And they do a series of time jumps.
They do, right. But it begins in 2003. There's this pandemic, and it stems from this mutated fungus,
right,
whatever, that infects people and takes over using them as hosts, basically, right?
Correct.
And then starts controlling them or what have you.
Yeah, so once you get bit, that's it.
Right.
It's a matter of moments before you become like an animal.
Like you turn, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, it's a little too Walking Dead sometimes.
Well, okay, yeah, so that's what I was going to say, is that was my first thought and impression was this. We've seen this before.
Right.
This has been done. Walking Dead. You and I, we've reviewed A Quiet Place with John Krasinski and both 1 and 2. And so I'm like, been there, done that.
Yeah.
And I I gotta say, now being 6 episodes in, I think for me, what's different and what's keeping me watching, because first episode was pretty good. It's pretty solid, I thought. Then I thought the second episode dipped a little bit. Then it picked up. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a roller coaster.
It is ebbs
ride.
and flows.
Some ebbs and flows, but it's the writing is so good, and the acting is so good, right? Pedro and Bella together, and a lot of this supporting cast. You're getting some great performances, and you're not dealing with 20 different characters, at least not right now. It's pretty focused on the two of them. Joel, who Pedro Pascal plays, his brother Tommy is another central character in the
first half. The first half of the first season is basically Joel searching for his brother who's way across the country. And how are they going to make it from there to there without getting infected?
Right.
And you see, it is different than The Walking Dead, but sometimes there is. But what makes the difference for me is Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
He is just phenomenal. I got like a total man crush on him. He is just.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And, Bella Ramsey, I've warmed up to her quite a bit. I think in the first episode or two. Now, probably because her character is very snarky and, she's got an edge to her. So it's a little bit, but I think she's playing it the way that's intended, right? That's intentional.
She's she's English, by the way. Have you heard her?
Oh yeah.
This bloody scene was bloody. I always that
Mike
always
going to the the Dick Van Dyke.
That's the only thing I
know. Mary
know.
Poppins.
I can't do a British accent.
Hey, what's up, Governor? Talk a little bit about the character of Tess, and I want you to talk a little bit about Annie Wersching, who voiced the character of Tess in the video game, who was also in the series 24. For those of you that remember.
She just passed away, which is really, she's only 45. I think she had 2 kids, and she was in 24. She was like Jack's antithesis or whatever, but they wound up kind of teaming up. And working together. But and
Tess, just real quick, the character is played by Anna Torv.
Right, now that's what I was just going to bring up. Anna Torv, who plays Tess in the series, is from the series Fringe. And if you haven't seen Fringe, that is a great watch. But I didn't even recognize her in this. They've got her so kind of bulked up with like almost like a military vest,
like a flak jacket type of thing,
and she's all dirty.
They're part of this kind of militant faction that is fighting again. It's post-apocalyptic, right? And then you've got Fedra.
Right, there's Fedra, and then there's the Fireflies.
Right.
So,
and she's part of the resistance movement.
Right.
Fireflies.
Fedra's like the government.
Right.
Trying to control everybody. And I lost Dan. So we got Fedra, which is like the government. And they're trying to control people and keep them in place and, set boundaries. But they're really lying to the people, and they're withholding things, kind of like our real government. The resistance, which is I think the Fireflies are part of the resistance. So comes to find out the story, and anybody who's played the video game knows this better than us. The Bella they find out early on in the first show that she's bitten. And Tess makes Joel, who's Pedro Pascal, promise to get her to this Firefly camp because they can use her blood because she was bitten. They kept her chained in a room. This is in the first 15 minutes, so I'm not giving any spoilers. Yeah. So they keep her chained in a room, and then they realize this girl's blood must be special because she's the only one that got bit.
She's immune.
And didn't go crazy. They left last show on a huge cliffhanger that could send me over the cliff, I won't say what it is, but I'll just say that.
Yeah, cliffhanger, and there was I think it was episode 3. There's a few new characters that are introduced, and the young kid is deaf, and in real life,
Yeah, yeah. They are brothers.
yeah,
They
and
are
in real life,
brothers.
the actor, the young child is deaf, but so they use sign language, which again, I was like, okay, it's a quiet place. We've seen this. That's how they
Right,
communicated,
right.
because these clickers, not walkers, but clickers, very different.
And clickers are different than infected.
Yes, because we didn't mention Fear the Walking Dead, which was a whole nother spin-off from The Walking Dead.
Let's not even go there.
But anyways, so the clickers, because they can hear you, but they can't see you.
Right.
And so
Which
that's the, being quiet.
I don't know if you noticed, they broke that rule a couple of times.
Did they? I didn't
Yeah,
pick up
where
on
the
that.
clickers, they made a sound, and the clickers, well, I guess they focus on the sound and go right to the sound, but I could have sworn they made no sound, and all of a sudden the clickers were in their face.
Yeah, or maybe
I think that happened a couple of
it was
times.
one of those, someone steps on a branch and it cracks.
But I don't know about you. I am still not sold yet. I am not sold.
Yeah, no, I think I'm well, like you said, ebbs and flows. I'm in and I'm out. I'm in and I'm out,
Right.
And
Just like
again,
that.
I think it's because of the acting.
Right.
Especially Pedro. He's
carrying a huge chunk.
he's carrying a huge chunk. Yeah, but as I was mentioning, these other two actors, these brothers, that was
a great scene.
it was a great episode, because their performance was just phenomenal in that particular episode. But yeah, so I'm kind of hot and cold, and
Yeah.
there was, it's interesting, we didn't even mention that this is when they jump ahead to 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the location? Where is it taking place?
Well,
It's in Boston. It's in Boston.
Oh, right.
It's in
Okay.
Boston, folks.
I was thinking,
home of the #1 hockey team in the National Hockey League.
and
folks.
right now the #1 basketball team, which I'm missing right now.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Gotta
They
wrap this up, folks.
sacrifices.
One thing I didn't see in that post-apocalyptic Boston was the Citgo sign. Nowhere to be found. I couldn't see that
I didn't
anywhere.
see Boston at all. Did you? I didn't see Faneuil
Not
Hall.
really.
I
Now
didn't see anything.
Well, the skyline has changed, over the years,
yeah.
but not to where I think they would have had a little bit more of the Hancock building or the Prudential Tower,
Something.
like a little bit more. I did see the Faneuil Hall area, like where the State House is and all of that. But
And
yeah,
I
not
used to-
not super recognizable.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
me as a kid, I went into Boston. Like you said, it looks much different than it looked when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But after school, me and a buddy would hop a bus,
Yeah.
get to the what do they call it? The subway, and we'd ride the subway right into
Not the restaurant, folks.
No, we'd jump on the subway, and it was a quarter.
Yeah.
It literally cost a quarter to get from where we are, which is about 20 minutes from Boston. It's not far, but that was it. A quarter one way, quarter the other. So we would go in and, cause some shenanigans. And I didn't recognize Faneuil Hall. I'll go back and look at it.
Now, one thing we should mention that was all the buzz was another previous episode. I think it was episode 4, perhaps, with, I was going to say Zach Galifianakis, but Nick Offerman. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman delivers one of the greatest performances you'll ever see.
Yeah, it was really good. And that's one of the big time jump, too.
It is. And it's a great episode.
Yeah.
But it's just, the performance is fantastic. And his sort of co-star in that episode, phenomenal as well. So, again, that's it. The acting is so strong.
Really good.
It's so solid, and the writing is so good that, I'm in. And now I think I've seen where, like, I've warmed up to Bella Ramsey's character, and she's delivering some really strong performances too. And the two of them together, it's a great dynamic.
Well, I don't want to give away that spoiler. I'll just say that Pedro is kind of the glue for me right now. He's holding it together for me. And if this goes too close to Walking Dead, or it's, like they come across a village that's, built walls around it, We've seen it.
We have
They
seen
did
it.
that in The Walking Dead. They made their own little town.
Mm-hmm.
And it does that. A lot of times it comes to that. I'm like,
And listen,
Walking
if
Dead.
Joel suffers the same fate as Rick, I'm out. I'm out.
You know, that's when that jumped the shark. Not only did he die, but they told us 3 episodes before it. They said, the last 3 episodes of Andrew Lincoln,
Yeah.
you got to see it.
Well, and
I'm like,
listen,
come
Daryl
on.
was a good, I mean, I would have hung on a little longer for Daryl, which I did, but you know what I like? The very opening of the series, episode 1, is this really cool. It's like 1968. It's one of these like Dick Cavett type shows
Mm-hmm.
where I know the actor, but I can't place him right now, but he's the Dick Cavett, the host of the show.
Right, right.
And he's got 2 like scientists on or whatever on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about viruses and this and that, and sort of predicting what the next big sort of thing to be concerned about is. And the one guy, who's another well-known actor, he's the one that starts setting the scene for what's to come by describing how fungi, he says,
Right.
fungus, that's really what we have to be concerned about. And he starts to explain the science behind it and how they can mutate and infect their host and then control it. And he uses the phrase, it was an example he gave about a fungus getting into ants and controlling the ants.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they became puppets with poisoned minds, which I loved that phrase. But it's a good way to describe what happens to these
And then
cordyceps,
guy,
clickers, whatever they are.
The other guy is basically Trump. Oh, it's just going to go away on it.
More
it's
or
a
less.
flu.
Not
it's
quite
a
that
flu.
severe. Yeah. I went back and watched the first episode just the other day, and
Yeah,
it was even more powerful to me. And without giving anything away, there's some real emotional beats in that first episode that, will definitely get you hooked in. First two. Yeah. Well, anything else to say about Last of Us at this point?
I think that's plenty.
Yeah.
Plenty.
So you're saying check it out.
I would definitely check it out. If you're a fan, if you loved The Walking Dead, and if you like The Walking Dead, you're probably still reading the books. There's way more stories.
Yeah.
If you liked it and you never got tired of the zombies and the finding different ways to make a zombie eat someone, check this out. You'll like it.
So
if you like the video game, you'll like it.
Yeah.
And you'll like saying, "Oh, I played that. I remember being on the horse." Yeah.
And for those that are big fans of the video game, I mean, there's as I've learned in watching some of the post-show credit video, is there's some scenes like done exactly as they are in the video game.
Yeah, they're trying to do it shot for shot.
All right, so that's I guess 2 thumbs up for right now.
Yeah,
we got 3 episodes left.
And are we gonna follow up after those?
I mean, we'll comment on it at some point, sure, but yeah. So if you haven't seen it, check out The Last of the Quiet Place and Fear the Walking Last of Us, whatever the name of it is. But it's The Last of Us on HBO Max, streaming now. And for those of you that have not begun following us yet, please make sure that you do. Go out to our YouTube channel, the O Brother Podcast. We've got a brand new kick-ass show trailer out there done by our production assistant, Andrew. Huge kudos to Andrew. He put a lot of work into that, so go show him some love out there. Like our videos. You can go out to the official O Brother website, OHB as in brotherpodcast.com. We're everywhere, folks. You can also catch us on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. For those that prefer to listen versus watch, but however you get us,
bottles.
We're on Coke bottles. Yeah,
You name
might
it.
be on a loaf of bread next week. Who knows? Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the O Brother Podcast. Been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.